The Adventures of Man Sponge and Boy Patrick and Goodness Man Ray. Chapter 10. To the Rescue. SpongeBob and Patrick scooted across the floor toward a pair of ropes that led to a lower level of the Merma lair. They leaped onto the ropes and slid down to the lower level. When they reached the bottom, they were dressed as superheroes. Man Sponge and Boy Patrick, that is. "How are we going to catch up with Man Ray, Man Sponge?" the faithful sidekick asked. "He's pretty speedy." "True, Boy Patrick, true." Man Sponge used all the power of his spongy brain. "I know! We'll borrow the invisible boatmobile!" "But wasn't that one of the things we weren't supposed to touch?" Boy Patrick pointed out. That was a good point, so Man Sponge again put his brain to work. "Well," he said, "SpongeBob and Patrick weren't supposed to touch the invisible boatmobile, but they didn't say anything about Man Sponge and Boy Patrick." Boy Patrick brightened. "That is good thinking, SpongeBob. I mean, Man Sponge." "Now all we have to do is find it." They started walking around the lower chamber of the Merma lair with their arms stretched out, hoping to feel the invisible boatmobile. "Found it!" Boy Patrick shouted. "But it might need to be fixed. It's squishy and full of holes." "Boy Patrick, that's not the boatmobile. That's my head," Man Sponge said. They kept feeling around until Man Sponge finally found the invisible boatmobile. He climbed into the driver's seat and Boy Patrick got in next to him. "Ignition on!" Boy Patrick yelled, punching an invisible button on the dashboard. The engine roared. "Wait!" Man Sponge cried. "I don't have a license!" Boy Patrick thought for a moment. Then he reached into his pocket. "Well, this is an invisible boat, right?" "Right," Man Sponge agreed. "So you need an invisible license," Boy Patrick concluded. He held up an invisible license and handed it to Man Sponge. "You're the best sidekick ever, Boy Patrick," Man Sponge said, accepting the invisible license gratefully. Man Sponge grasped the steering wheel and hit the gas. Flames burst out of the back of the invisible boatmobile, and the boat shot forward. Smash! The heroes crashed through the rock roll of the Merma lair. "Yeah!" they screamed. Wham! The invisible boatmobile slammed into a light pole. "Oh, thank goodness for invisible seatbelts," Boy Patrick said. Man Ray ran right past them. "Out of my way, fools!" he sneered. "You no longer have control of me." He stopped on a rocky outcropping and pointed at Bikini Bottom. "Now this town belongs to Man Ray!" "Not so fast, arch-villain!" Man Sponge said, climbing out of the boat. "We still have the Orb of Confusion! Take this!" Man Sponge flipped the switch on the orb. Immediately, he and Boy Patrick felt very confused. They drooled. Man Ray shrugged. "Well, that was easy." He left the two heroes babbling and headed straight for the First Nautical Bank. Stay tuned for Chapter 11 coming up soon.